steal the nuke pick, then they're going to be set up really well for the 2-0. So it's troublesome right now. It really has to be just Spirit coming out flying here on Nuke if they want a chance to get into this series.
Yeah, and it's worth noting as well that 16-0ing by forZe really was the beginning of the end for the Spirit roster, right? That was the point where we looked at it and we went, okay, that's done. And that was the point where they looked at it and said changes had to be made. So, opportunity at redemption, or perhaps a second bite at the cherry for forZe. We will have to wait and see. Of course, forZe will be starting over on the CT side of Mirage. They get that advantage immediately, courtesy of it being Spirit's map pick. And Spirit, well, with Molly, Smoke, Flash, and a HE, they're going to play relatively passively initially. A little bit of utility dumped into the A site. Nothing too aggressive, however, as they'll just hold in towards that lobby and play for the delayed pop out onto the A site. Just trying to pull their way through. Nice shot from Patsi. And Patsi actually going to find a second in tow with, that's going to be Siren, who apparently has been reported a fair few times. Chopper on the backstab gets his hands onto Shelfie, and that is it. Kenzie will bail out, and Spirit already posting more rounds on Nuke than they did last time they met forZe. Interestingly, and I'm sure we will get it fixed very shortly, for anyone who's a little confused, Cat is Siren, as far as I'm aware. It's just that he's been reported a few too many times, so he's got the good old Valve treatment of having his name removed.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's why Spirit have come in with the pick here, because it looked like they had the plan pretty much down to a T right there in order to just catch forZe off guard on that A-bomb site. Quick burst, I mean, it's nothing special, but it is a way to go ahead and win out the round. As you said, unfortunately, we do have the player who's been muted up. There's a command, but I always forget it to unmute everyone. Unfortunately, you can't just right-click and unmute, I don't believe, like you can regularly in-game. But that's a bit unfortunate. Either way, the force coming in from forZe, as you would expect here on the second round. Don't really want to be taking the eco for the early gun round because you don't really have too many nades. Then you're vulnerable to a quicker play even on towards that upper bomb site, not really having mollies and such to delay it. So the force buy is understandable. We'll have to see something being done with it here, ideally from forZe. We've seen them struggle with slow starts all day.
It's not the greatest of forces in the world either, as it always is with the CT side. Okay, Shelfie, looking to prove me wrong, immediately takes Dexter's head off outside. That's a nice pick to get as well. We were talking in the pregame about how that's a lot of their firepower, so for that to be removed immediately is rough, and Kenzie's going to make it even worse. Patsi goes down. That's an AK recoverable as well. This T side starts to look a little bit ropey at this point. Magic, Siren, and Chopper going to be grouping in towards Squeak, and this really is a bit of a last chance saloon attempt. They're going to head on out. There's CZ top of the heart. A Deagle on Norway behind the site. The CZ of Jerry grabs himself one, dives in for the second as well. And Siren, there's nothing he can do. Zorti swings wide with the scout. It's a free headshot. It's a free round. And it's far too clean of a round as well. You have to say, given it was the force buy, given how little firepower force had, they made that look very, very easy.
They did, but just so I can be a bit of a pessimist, I do want to point out that they're still 0 for 5 in pistol rounds today, which is a bit insane. You don't see that too often. But yeah, I mean, Jerry, especially with that CZ up on top of the hood, it looked like Magic probably should have been prepared for it as he was coming out too focused, though, in on the player on the bomb site who had just been kind of throwing the shoulder. It was a distraction. And then obviously to drop down in towards the hood to just push in, take control, and steal a weapon away. From that point, there wasn't really much to be done on the recovery. Chopper hits a really nice shot on the Kenzie. There was a second rifle, though, ready for the backup from in towards Hell. And yeah, with the range, Zorti, they're going to be able to just kind of spam away, easily taking out 2, leaving Dexter and Magix alone. And Magix, I think, is one of the players that could kind of step in and fill one of those firepower, one of those fragging roles, rather, that we're saying is kind of needed of them. I remember back when he debuted for the team, when he was, I think, 16 at the time, you could clearly see that he had some insane mechanical skill. But I think then within the team, he was just kind of put into a role where he wasn't needed as a massive fragger. So it'll be interesting to see how he is adapted into this lineup, I suppose. Obviously, as you were saying before the game, though, we don't really know if this is the full lineup they'll be sticking with, or whether Chopper is still on his way out the door or not.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, isn't it? Because you look at this roster and some of the changes they were making seem to be having some kind of traction. They've had a bit of time off since their last event, and you thought they could have really worked on some things, really come up with some ideas. But coming in with what's arguably a dead roster, although we can't guarantee it. Okay, mind that. Patsi, just full bunny hopping around, has been able to deal with Norway, and out of nowhere, Siren's grabbed himself another. The Glock's doing a lot of heavy lifting. Kenzie desperately trying to stabilize things, will be able to do so. They'll even deny the plant. But that very quickly got out of hand. Magix is going to grab another, and this is going to get far more expensive than it ever reasonably should have been. Kenzie, the next one to fall, and out of nowhere, 1v1, Zorti dinked up on this AK-47. Magix still with near full health. This could get incredibly ugly. Zorti has got to play this very cautiously. They brought nothing into this. Very little, and Zorti on 13 HP bails forZe out. Patsi with, I mean, that's some surfing level movement. That's some KZ stuff right there. Beautiful work to get that initial Zeus kill.
Yeah, I mean, the big brain plays, I suppose. That's the call there. It's like, all right, rush A, I'll Zeus a guy. But as you said, quick movement, good timing as well, alongside his teammates coming out from the door and Huss. So I don't believe the player was even able to pay attention to the noise, even if he had heard it behind them. 3-1 scoreline, even if it's just by the skin of their teeth for forZe. We'll see if they can continue on with this or not, because the economy, it's not really in place to go ahead and rebuy if this round is lost out. And it's Patsi again with a great entry, this time in a more conventional manner, albeit, but it is still a very nice headshot that's landed, and with that full outside control, including the ability to push up towards Hell and really just start being a nuisance here with all of that map in their favor. It's constricting forZe in. It'll be interesting to see what sort of reaction now they have, whether they want to just sit in place or if they want to be a bit more aggressive with it.
Looks like they're going to be relatively chill. Kenzie able to get the refrag onto Chopper, and at this point, 4-on-4. Advantage still there for the T side. They got a lot more map control to work with, a lot more room. Magic's though spotted out, and that's the bomb spotted as well. He's aware of it, does start to just back away. Needs his teammates to come in, and Patsi does just that again. Big kills coming in from the youngster. Now Norby, aware he's got to do something, does swing wide and actually gets the bomb at his feet. I'm not too sure how aware he is. Kenzie able to grab one more. Norby from on high supporting, and this is really well played again by forZe. Smart CS. Norby aware that he had to turn the tide of that round. Goes aggressive looking for the bomb. At this point, Siren 1v3, Zorti pinning him in. A man who's right, who I don't think he even knows is there. Indeed, he doesn't. Kenzie mopping up the pieces. Lovely stuff from forZe again. Just able to stabilize, right? They lose that early man, but they know when to get aggressive. They know when to respond. And I think we're seeing a little bit of... Oh, that is just nasty. That is from Patsi. Just really trying to get in the opposition's head, which, to be fair, when last time you two met, you got 16-0'd. You really do need to do.
Yeah, I mean, getting in the head, getting in the booty. Judging by the way he flew around in behind them there. But either way, it's a scout and some pistols here for Spirit. So I was going to say there really shouldn't be much to be done. But obviously Dexter immediately shuts me up, and it's a nasty shot on Zorte, who doesn't really get a chance to do much there. Did he have the up and play? I guess we'll find out in a moment if someone else recovers it. Either way, that's going to be a big find early on for Spirit. We'll see if they can obviously convert it now into a round win or not, because they're still quite limited on weapons. They don't really have the utility to work with apart from that one smoke that they just put down. They're not really going to be moving too much off the back of it. They're just leaving Patsi here to lurk, and well, we've seen him a couple of times now being successful in this area, so we'll see whether forZe are continuing to be cautious of it or not. It seems like the main goal now is to try and move in through ramp and get up close and personal, basically, with these weaker weapons.
It's the right move to make, and they've got an isolated fight. Kenzie falling back off his first angle of choice has allowed them out. He will hear these footsteps. Still holding that headshot angle, moving very late away from it. Shalfie been traded 1-for-1, and now Kenzie really needs to step up here. He's found himself the first. They've lost hell control off the back of it. Dexter making good use of it. With Patsi lurking in, this starts to look very splintered for the CT side. Norway aggressive into the hut. Jerry about to pop out of the vents, and oh, if he's been spotted, I don't think he has. Patsi was looking the wrong way. I'm going to try and split up into the A site, and yeah, Patsi with no idea goes down too easily. At this point, 2 players out of heaven. Magix tries to bait it with the bomb, lets the bomb drop first, then he goes after it. Jerry, though, picking them off one by one. Lovely stuff. I think Magix has thrown the bomb there so that if he dies, it's still down on the site. That's the only logic I can come up with, but it doesn't quite land. This is a lovely opener from Dexter. We were talking about how much impact he needs to have, but from there, again, it's just a little too simple for Jerry to isolate these 1v1s.
Maybe he was just taking the game a bit more logically right there. He was like, okay, I don't have a gun in my hands, but maybe if I throw a bomb at him, that'll scare him. But no, unfortunately not. Didn't work out. 5-1, and well, it's only now that Spirit have first come back onto this full gun round at least. So this is where they really need to start turning the tide of the game, especially with this being their map choice. As we said, Ancient's up next, and despite forZe losing it against Sprout, it was still clearly a very, very strong map for them. So I don't think Spirit want to be heading onto that map down. Shalfie actually tucked in towards Secret right now, and with that, Patsy's been able to creep around behind Garage. We'll see whether he actually gets to do anything here as he looks to head over towards Hell, where there is a couple players around ramp and such that could be caught off guard. So this is potentially massive play, and he's actually going to bring it up towards Heaven even. They have no idea.
Could get very awkward. Again for this CT side. Norway, I think, has got utility out. Jerry, with his back turned, will give freebie. Norway now under pressure. Patsi delivers both. Will finally be taken out by Zorti, but 2v4. This upper side lost. Zorti not going to let it go easily, however. Gets the pick onto Dexter up on top of Heart. And that's actually going to slow them right down. Magix does very well on the outside lurk to find that critical kill. Without it, they really couldn't get into the A site. Now it's just Kenzie. So far behind, flanking in late. Siren and Magix both headed in his direction, and Magix all too up for the task. Spirit do post their second round, and it's a good one as well. Breaks falls near enough entirely. Kenzie may be able to drop one. This fight's going to look very rough indeed.
Yeah, I mean, they'll be able to just about scrape something together, but I don't think they'll get the op unless they really want to sacrifice elsewhere. Yeah, I mean, Kenzie obviously could have dropped it, but you know, the ability to get a rifle over to a teammate and get one himself then is much, much better, I'd imagine. I'd say in this scenario, rather. Decent nades as well behind it. But a big round from Spirit. Obviously, it comes down to Patsi managing to creep around past Secret, through Garage, and up into Heaven. It was kind of completely unexpected at that point, because after he got past, the Secret player did peek, didn't see anything, and was like, okay, yeah, cool, outside seems to be clear. So it's not really a strategy you can rely on 2 rounds in a row. We'll have to see exactly how now Spirit decide to keep the pressure on, because if they win out this round, suddenly they're up towards 4. Next gun round then could put them into a position where they even start taking the lead on this T side, which is obviously a pretty big recovery from what initially was the 5-0. As the pause is removed, we're back into the action. As we said, there is a bit of a limited investment with Shalfie actually stuck on a Deagle. He's been in some nice shots on that weapon though.
He's got plenty of capability. Kenzie, though, going to take the fight right to Patsi. Able to open things up nicely. Magix will find the 1-for-1, but the damage is good for Shalfie, whose Deagle will connect. Keeps it at least competitive in the 4-on-3. Can't recover the rifle, unfortunately. That aggression to be traded, not going to be viable. Shafi is trying to lurk outside late to pick this AK, but Chopper, very aware of the possibility, will deal with him. And now with Kenzie tagged down to 19, it starts to swing back in Spirit's favor this round until Jerry, determined to have impact, pushing through the squeaky door, manages to find Dexter. Utter chaos again on Nuke. It's looking very shattered, disjointed on the offensive. At the very least, it's bought them a 2-on-3. Kenzie flanking outside on just 19 HP is in a little bit of trouble if Chopper looks to turn. But now, though, his sights remain firmly on Jerry, who should be hearing this. He's a little isolated again, though. It's an awkward fight. He dinks him up, but nothing more. And now Chopper hightailing it into the A site with a split from Siren on Heaven. Kenzie on just 19 HP. Norway having to make his way out of the vents. This becomes very winnable for Spirit. Chopper looking the wrong way, though, will go down. And now the youngster in the 1v2. Siren with 2 flashes to play with. No smoke for the bomb for the CT side. Kenzie and Norway peeking together. Siren goes down to 11, but he's still alive and kicking. Drops the first of his flashes, second to follow. That bomb already halfway ticked. He's looking to play the time. Norway does have a kit. Siren giving him nothing, though. Taps it again. Knows he has to bait the peek out, and Siren just isn't giving it to him. Ducks down. Norway taps it again. He needs this peek. He needs it now. It will come through. Siren takes the bait. He just needed to survive a couple of seconds more, but he can't quite land it. The defuse will come through. forZe will have their 6th round. And that T-side ruining missed opportunities yet again.
Right down to the wire as well. I mean, he was low health there pretty much that entire time. Manages to bait the shots out for so long. Falls short, as you said, by just a couple of seconds, really, at max, it seemed. Good work, though, by norV to win it out in the end. It was around here that lets forZe really keep control of things, as we had mentioned. If that went south, then suddenly Spirit were close to even tying up the scoreline. So they're going to be feeling they're sad about how things went down in the end on that Team Spirit side, but they've still got a decent buy, which is a positive. A couple of mollies over onto this A-bomb site, quickly taking norV out of position, but they're quite ready for the commitment. It takes a couple extra seconds before they move forward. It gave time for norV to position. It gave time for Jerry to get into position as well and behind the bomb site. And despite being blind, it actually just steps out and takes himself 2 very quick kills. Even hangs on to life there on 8 health, even Dexter all alone. And well, this could get dangerous if they all keep on peeking, but Kenzie just flies up the ladder because why the hell not? I was a bit worried though, because Jerry was 5 health. If Jerry had went for the double peek alongside him coming up the ladder, then if Jerry dies at first, he flicks over and things could start to get a little bit dangerous. That's all in my mind. It's a fantasy at this stage. Done 7-2.
This is always going to be the problem. Again, the idea is solid, right? Hit into the A site, utility's good, but that double pump, the timing not quite right, giving time for those CT players to reposition. Grab the kills again. Another awkward buy comes through for Spirit. Couple of Mac 10s, Tech 9s. Galil's around 1 AK. Dexter does get his AWP. Queuing in outside the lobby once more. Here comes the utility, here comes the commitment once again with even less in terms of the nades. They're going to try and charge on in. It's a 2-for-1 in favour of norV. He's done well there. Patsi does grab one from deep in towards Squeak, and Dexter will be able to respond on that AWP in kind, but Shelfie and Kenzie able to just lock it down in amongst the chaos. It feels like it's playing into the hands of forZe quite nicely as Spirit do take the timeout. They tried near enough the exact same hit, Dean, with a little less utility, and it actually almost went a little bit better.
Yeah, up until, unfortunately, they weren't able to trade out the player in behind that CT vent quite quick enough. norV just getting away with a bit too much getting the second kill, really. As we end up seeing a pause actually being called in by Spirit. This one's pretty understandable, I would say, right now. They sadly don't really have the money on everyone to get the buy behind it, though. I think they might consider it. No, not at this point. They've already bought up a Tech 9 and a Kevlar there on Siren. So yeah, it'll be the half investment. Understandable. It means, though, a 9th round goes over to forZe. If they manage to just win out this next gun round, then things are going to be way too far out of control. And forZe, despite not looking like they're going to get despite obviously not being able to get a 16-0 like they did the last time around, it doesn't really seem like they're struggling much more at all. It's still being relatively comfortable, despite there being a couple of clutch rounds that could have swung it the other way. When it's come down to these gun rounds, the majority of the time, forZe have been living with 2 or 3 at least. Also, we got another replay of the Zeus this time, including the little surf action.
If he'd hit that last bunny hop perfectly, I would have tweeted it. It's the fact he scuffs the last bunny hop for me. It's just
ruined the momentum.
Yeah, it could have been so good, man. He would have been in YouTube montages for years to come. Wilder?
Okay, must have been buying something because he's good now. Let's run down his
Another fast play looking to come in early. The Tech 9 is trying to have impact, but Shelfie's already removed Patsi, and through the smoke, Magix has taken a lot of damage. He's not been quiet about dropping down either, as Shelfie continuing to take fights outside. 2 Techs and a Deagle, all that really remain. He says, like, there is something secret hidden in the back pocket. There isn't, that's it. With all 5 players still up for forZe, this T side will be aware they really need a little more damage out of this round. All timing. Magic's just about able to stay alive in the vents a little while longer. If they can get this bomb down to the lower site, potentially isolate Shelfie, deal with him, grab a rifle, get that plant down. That would be the goal at this point, and the timing's going to be everything. He will actually spot and deal with Siren early, and Dexter looking the wrong way, can't find the refrag. That's the bomb spotted out. They'll be aware there's more presence where that came from, so the rotations are going to have to be a little bit cautious. Kenzie dives down the ramp to try and support, as Magix now shows his hand, but is quickly dealt with. That early chip damage coming in handy. Dexter at least able to grab one, but again, it's not quite what they would have been hoping for. They invested into Tex and Deagles, looking to chip away at this offensive line that forZe are holding, and it just didn't quite work out that way. 9-2, the lead continuing to stretch. Don't forget, this is the map picker Spirit, and yes, it is the T side of Nuke, but still, they just haven't looked really like registering any rounds at all. They've had a couple of big individual moments, and that's been about it.
No, and the frags haven't really been coming where we'd expect them to come from, or where you'd really want them to come from either. It's been really the two in-game leaders that have been up there alongside Magic's. Dexter hasn't really had too many chances to get the op going, sadly. He had the scout where he picked up that fantastic pick early on, but in a round where it was of no consequence in the end, unfortunately. 2 scoreline, it just basically has to be these last 4 rounds rather going the way of Team Spirit if they want to come out with a decent half. Well, that nade damage, while not massive, won't be really helping them out here. Chopper down to 61. Bit of a slower round in general at the moment coming in from Spirit. They aren't even really looking for the outside control. Just running down those CT nades, but not really while actively pressuring all that much either. The hope really is at the moment that someone's just going to peek in and give them a chance here for an early pick, because they're not doing much in terms of the pressuring.
Minute on the clock, and they're only just getting down Secret. Timings don't quite feel right. Dive down, punished by Jerry early. Siren will be able to find the refrag, and that does open up the vent as the trades come through frantically. Kenzie, though, still alive. Siren does very well to deal with him. If Kenzie finds that kill, it's all over. Instead, the lower site wide open for the taking. I don't know if Norway and Zorti really want to give this one a go. They're still lurking around the upper site. Zorti is just starting to make his way down the ramp now. Norway is going to join him. They are going to have a crack at this one. They do just about have the money to. It's not great by any means, but there is some there. Chopper botted out, dealt with. Nice shot by Zorti. There's no utility of bar one flashbang to really get them into this, though. And that's going to start making life difficult as Norway starts to aggress. Big pick coming up. He needs to deal with Siren, and the double dink from the youngster is good. That's it. That's round. Zorti knows it. Immediately bailing out. Looking to hold on to that AWP as the economy starts to break off for the CT side. A nice little round that by Spirit. Again, a little bit chaotic, a little bit frantic, but with a roster like this, you have to play to that style. Just about able to get it done. That's a third T-side round on the board, and I think these T-side rounds are going to be everything, because I'm looking at their stats from the Double Pony game, which is the only other game we have of this roster, and they won 10 T-side rounds on Nuke to take that. So they were really leaning on that T-side, and at the moment, it's been a little choppy and changey, a little loose around the edges.
Yeah, 10 T rounds, that's a little bit mad. I'm going to say, though, it seems like Kenzie really should have had the drop on Siren when he was working his way around back from Vents. Vents. Caught him without his weapon out even, and just wasn't able to get all the shots landed, unfortunately. And even with the damage then, Siren went on to get another kill for himself. So just a good round from the youngster as well. Not be taking any credit away from him. Either way, 9-3, it's a round from Team Spirit. If they get a second off the back of it, they could completely destroy forZe's economy. And while that's not a bad 1-for-1, I think, again, they can be pretty happy there as Siren picks up the trade on towards Norvi. They lose Magic's in the meantime, but it's a decent enough position as they now look towards the outside control once again. There's the single smoke down for now. Oh, there we go. The second one going to be put in as well. Giving them the option if they want to get up close and maybe wrap around in towards main. I'm wondering if they're maybe going to try and throw that change in, because so far they've put these down and moved over towards Secret a couple of times. You're just not moving outside in general.
Again, minute left on the clock. Done a decent job of bleeding the CT utility. Shalfie holds the majority of it at this point. Even 4-on-4. Chopper trying to bleed a little more. Flashes to try and get Zorti off the angle, but he'll post again. Dexter, meanwhile, lurking outside late, does deal with Shalfie and deals with the utility as a result. They'll double back off it, avoiding Zorti, looking to hit into this A site as Jerry, the veteran, looks to anchor it down. Knows he's got a lot to do here. He's being pincered from multiple angles, and Siren, again, has really just switched on. In these last couple of rounds, he has looked very crispy indeed, and Zorti and Kenzie this time really don't have the economy to even be poking around it. They need to save both of these rifles if they want to have a say in the next round. Enzi trying to find a clean escape route. Zorti already deep in towards spawn. He will be able to get out of there. Grabs a little bit of utility on the way out as well. Even baits the sound cue of going up the ladder. Just to try and keep Spirit maybe in that site a split second longer. Maybe get one of them going down to the bomb. But it feels like Siren's really starting to warm up here, dude.
Yeah, he's finding himself a couple of nice rounds in a row. That to continue as well as for ideally everyone else to keep on joining him with those frags as well. It's been a decent team effort, at least, I suppose, is one thing you can say. No one's standing out too massively. No one underperforming massively either. It is Dexter, though, down on the 6. A little bit hard without the op on this T side, in fairness to him. Probably see it being a bit more successful if they get to that CT side and have time to really get the economy going. Speaking of ops, though, it's only the one op right now, obviously, for Zorte that was carried over. Other than that, an AK den, a few pistols behind it. And in the case of Norvi, not even bothering to upgrade off of the USP. So there's a chance, obviously, but unless something crazy happens here, there really shouldn't be too much being done in this round for forZe. A few kills, I think, would be the main goal. Just try and keep the pressure on and maybe even leave some weaknesses into the buy for the final round for Team Spirit. Bit of a one-way here, I believe.
Yes, indeed. Gives him a little bit of an angle to work with. Ollie going in forces him out of it, however. Spirit, again, seem to have got the idea that just slowing this down, waiting for forZe to use all their util and going late and explosively into a site is finding them success, and it seems to be consistency at this point. Zorti flashed off. No say in this one. Doesn't want to overcommit either, aware that there's pistols around him. He'd like to save this AWP again. Might get to have a go into the next round. So as the bomb goes down, he'll retreat. Send in the pawns, the USP, the Deagle, and the P250, perhaps. Or use them as body blockers for the bullets that will inevitably come the way of Zorti and Kenzie as the hunt begins. Rory and Jerry just having a little bit of a poke. See if they can prod the bear and get a reaction as Magic and Patsi look to exit. Dexter's dealt with Zorti, and that starts to get awkward now. Shalfie was in position to recover that AWP, but he's not going to be allowed to because Dexter will know what's there, and he's looking for it. Nice 1D from Shalfie, but you can see he's continuing to be hunted. Now 4 T-side players tuned in on his position. There is nothing he can do. Spamming that Deagle futilely. But 9-5, not a bad half now for Spirit. Starting to build something up on that T-side.
Yeah, I mean, not just starting, getting towards the end of it at this stage, obviously, with just this one final round, but they still kind of do desperately need this 6th round, as you had said, with the 10 round, the game against Double Pony being the T side, rather, where they got pretty much everything done. So it's almost a necessity, and well, this is a change of pace. We haven't seen these straight up A hits in quite a while, and maybe this is why, because it really hasn't worked out all that well for them, and they're just going to be shut out. Alongside Norvi, just making it look easy, and well, I don't think it's going to really turn around at this point for Team Spirit. It doesn't seem. The nade in on top of Dexter brings him down to 69 initially. I think he took a nade then, a smoke rather, maybe to the foot afterwards, as one more on top of it. Takes us off the naughty number. They had to.
See, this frustrates me. Spirit had found a system that worked, playing slowly and bleeding the utility. They started to build a T-side. And then they went right back to what was going so wrong at the start. They went wrong once again. I can see the idea, trying to change the pace, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And Spirit learned that the hard way. Chopper and Dexter left, clawing at pieces of around to see if maybe they can get something going. But as Zorti deals with Dexter, Chopper surely fighting a losing battle here. That utility gives his position away, and like flies to a corpse, they swarm here. 4 players. Looking for him. They'll swing before the smoke goes. Norrie gets a little bit of chip damage, but he's locked in. It's job done. 10-5 as we head into the half. A solid first half for forZe. A little bit of a rough one for Spirit. And we'll have to see if they can come back from it after the break. points where they worked out a strategy, they made it land, they found consistency with it. It's a question of what can they get done on this CT side now. Early utility breaks open the squeaky door. Chopper in place with the Julies. Not going to be tested just yet, however, as now that second string of utility comes out. Shafi rips Patsi's head clean off. Chopper in trouble. He's losing teammates left, right, and center, and he goes down with only a kill to his name. At this point, 2v4, make it 1v4 as Jerry, with the dropped Julies, finds yet more damage. Well, that's not the start Spirit would have wanted. Dexter looking to recover things, will at least find the first, but at this point, he's in a lot of trouble. That bomb down, ticking away all the while. He knows where Shalfie is. He tries to isolate the fight, but Shalfie is having none of it. 11 on the board for forZe, an early pistol round success, and a pretty brutal one at that, Dean.
Yeah, it doesn't bode well at all. Pretty swift as well. The dual Berettas, they've become a little bit more of a common strategy, but you don't normally see them popping out on on Nuke quite as often. I guess that really is the one place you can play it. The map where I've seen it being incredibly common, where it seems like every time I see like 2 sets of them, is Ancient, because people just love putting them in towards the lamps around Donut as well. It's like the perfect map for them, it seems. But as we've seen on the hut there, he was able to make it work initially. Fortunately, that was really all they got within the round. 11-5, it's a force bite coming through that's going to have to work. Otherwise, they're only really going to have one true shot at that gun round, which will not be fun. Yeah, the pause is going to be removed out now. I believe they have another one left as well, so going on to that gun round, I wouldn't mind seeing another tactical pause being called through, but it definitely made sense to get it out before this force buy as well. They actually do have a few nades.
It's a rough one, isn't it? It was always going to be a rough one. You need that utility on Nuke as well. You're going to see it here if they look to go fast out. Already vent diving with multiple players, and you can see the lack of information for the CT side off the back of it. They've got no idea. Magic spotting them will be the first real inkling they have, but the bomb's already going to go down. Norby already in their faces. Jerry looking to cut the rotation before they even arrive. Magic's nice double dink. Takes Norby out of things. But again, with that bomb already down, the clock already ticking, Chopper will grab the scout that was dropped as Dexter failed to find purchase with it, and likely will try and hold on to it at this point, to be perfectly honest. Magix is looking for an exit route, will be cut out by Jerry, but holding on to 3-4 pistols, you know, a scout here and there. It's not a bad result when you know the round is a lost cause. You don't want to overcommit to it. Chopper, if he can save that scout and a deagle, as he does find a nice headshot onto Shalfie, that should be another little something to pick up. That'll be a drop over to a teammate, so Dexter will get the scout, he'll get to stick around on the deagle. They don't have to spend any more money. Same sort of principle with the MAC-10. And as a result, this next round has a little more bite to match the bark than it otherwise would have had. But like you said, Dean, that's 12 on the board, likely to be 13 off the back of the next, before they even really are able to get any rifles out at all. And at that point, you're leaving yourselves with so little room for error for a roster that's chopping and changing. You've got to buy yourselves a little more leniency than that.
Yeah, obviously they save over it a little bit at least, but unless they manage to win this round, then it's really not going to be too big of a deal. Even the damage, I don't think, will be massively helpful unless they really come alive in that first gun round. As a pretty decent entry, you've got to say, there through the smoke. Vision not even needed for Jerry. Managed to catch Patsi and transition off the top of the hut, I believe it was. Yeah, a bit of a slower one from forZe. They're just not in a rush. They don't need to be. They know what they're up against. They can hang back. They've already got the man advantage, so it's Spirit who are feeling all of the pressure within the game and within this round as well at the moment. Both sides smokes for them to move across towards Secret. And with that, you'll probably see the other 3 players trying to work their way across towards Ramp. This is a little bit scary. Okay. Yeah, Dexter actually lands the follow-up. Chopper with a MAC-10 up close could be pretty scary for Kenzie to deal with as well. So he's going to go ahead and slow it down for a moment, as his teammates are going to need to find this ramp success to potentially pull that attention away there so he can actually eventually move down Secret. They're actually going back, though. Never mind. Siren has got himself 2 coming in through the hut on that AK. Had stolen it away with the initial deagle shot, and well, suddenly Kenzie's left alone. Okay, they're just making this force by work.
Starting to see why Siren might have been picked to come up to the main roster now. Very clean shots on the AK-47. And out of near enough nothing, Spirit looked to have registered a 6th. Kenzie's going to try and hold on to that AK-47. deep into the lower site. Bomb in no man's land. There's really nothing more he can do. Just going to try and make sure he can hold on to that AK, not give it over to the CT side after time. And understandably, Spirit really not going to be hunting. They've got themselves some Galils, some AK-47s that they were not expecting to find in their hands after this round. So 12-6. Spirit responding even earlier than we thought they would have done. Some lovely shots here, and this from Siren is so clean. The pre-aim on the first is lovely, and the drag down on the second on low HP to get it done. The back of the initial deagle shot, as you said, very, very smooth stuff. Looking solid is Siren. He's providing a lot of the impact, you have to say, for Spirit.
It's still a bit sporadic, though, which is the issue, because they just don't have a ton of firepower, it doesn't seem. You need someone to stand out. He's more than capable of having his rounds. I think consistency is key in this case, and, well, Siren can keep it going now if they want to hold on. It's such an important round. Kenzie finding two big openings. Shalfie going to make his way down the vent, and trade out Dexter, who really did give it his best shot right there, mowing down two. Will it be enough? A 2-on-3 for Chopper and Magix to try and recover. There's still a ton of time on that clock as well for forZe to actually move in towards one of these bomb sites. It does seem like B is still going to be the goal, where Magix currently awaits, sitting in behind the silo, I believe. But they don't really have to rush in towards the bomb site, to be honest. As you can see, they still have Kenzie up outside right now, so he's got good control. They're actually going to potentially even consider moving back up the vent. Although I think that smoke is just to try and fake this out, hoping that they can pull Magix off of B and maybe just into their crosshairs.
He'll hold firm for now, but it is keeping Chopper busy up on that A site. Now the smoke goes down onto B, and they look to double back again. Kenzie, this fight's everything. He spotted Chopper out, gets some chip damage onto him, sure, and they'll dive up into the A site. Not quite able to find the kill, but the problem is, again, Chopper is so far away. Magic's down on the lower side, Chopper outside of the squeaky door. There's very little they can say or do to change the outcome of that plant. And as a result, there's very little they can really say or do about the round. Magix is having a little bit of a poke in towards Hell and Heaven. Baiting the sound cue, seeing if he can maybe draw the crosshairs away, but as Zorti deals with Chopper, Magic's left in the 1-3. Nice flashbang to get him out, but Zorti's already turned it. Flicks back around, rips his head clean from his shoulders, and as soon as the success was found for Spirit, it's immediately just bookended by failure as forZe managed to get their 13th.
Yeah, in a very chaotic fashion, I've got to say, with the way those kills went down. Dexter in towards the vent there, we didn't get to see that from his perspective, I don't believe. It was a nice little spray down. Fortunate he couldn't get away with a bit more, but yeah, in the end, it does go the way of forZe just about. Still money there for everything to be bought up pretty much anyway for Team Spirit. As you can see, they've got the op even on Dexter, and look for the early pick outside. Does indeed, I believe, land on towards the... No, sorry, that was actually Patsi who got tagged up. I'm getting confused by the sides. My brain apparently doesn't have enough sleep to fully function. But, oh, well, that was horrible timing. They start trying to cross over. Patsy's not having a good time anyway. He's getting naded up into oblivion in this round. Yeah, that early attempt, rather, for the peek off the back of the op, unfortunately not working out, and the hope was there alleviate some of the pressure, because sitting back on the bomb sites hasn't really been working for them.
But now they're going to have to, knowing that the damage is there. Patsi really can't afford to be proactive on 29 HP. You've got two options at this point. Bunker down into your sights and pray, or really push the issue, and it looks like they're going for the former. Dexter will post up, try and maybe bait them in towards Patsi. 48 seconds left on the clock. It's starting to get a little touch and go for this T side now. Dexter drops his molly. That buys another 15 seconds. This could get a little chaotic. They're trying to boost a man around the corner, trying to catch Dexter on the headshot angle, and it works out perfectly. Kenzie gets the first. And now the problem is Patsi on 29 HP. He'll deal with one, but he should be very quickly traded. Jerry's toying with it for a long time, but he will get it done. 2-on-3 as Zorti picks off the lurk, and at this point, they might actually choose to double back. The bomb is on the back of Zorti. The timing is everything, and Chopper and Siren get both the kills. With 13 seconds left, Chopper has locked out the bomb. That's the round done. Spirit continue to scrap on this CT side. And forZe, again, just a little guilty of spending a little too long working out what they wanted to do.
Yeah, that was rough. I mean, leaving the Shalfie, I believe it was, who stepped out as well. Siren just never budged off the top of the rafters, and in the end, it did work into his favor. But Could have been a little bit dangerous if the players were all just down on B right there. It would have been very overwhelming for that last player in place, rather. But at least Zorthi, rather, is able to actually save the op over. That's a small positive. Dropped back to him from Jerry, of course, who was the one to actually carry it through. Doesn't really have the money, though, I don't think, to get a rifle for himself, so will be just limited onto a Deagle, a Mac-10 for Norvi. Kenzie probably going to be put onto a pistol as well. It seems like they want to go for it, of course, off the back of the op being saved. But it's relatively limited, and although they do currently still have a pretty decent gap, this is how things can begin to spiral out of control. With Team Spirit here on the CT side, if they win this one out, then it's an eco in the next round. Suddenly, at that point, Spirit are up towards 9. They get the next gun round, they're on double digits already. And then it begins to look really doable.
Certainly does. The problem is every time they've got to this junction, forZe have found a response, right? We've been at 2 or 3 of these now on the CT side of Spirit where they've had an opportunity. They've started to get forZe onto these awkward buys where there's a couple Mac-10s, there's some odds and ends. And every time so far, forZe have been able to find the response. This one, however, seems like it may be a little different. No early pick given. Sit at an impasse as everyone just holds off. Happy to play passive into the early round, hoping perhaps on the forward side of things that there's some over-aggression from the CT side, but none given. Everyone just takes a deep breath in. Molotov does start to go out. And again, it does start to do a good job of bleeding that early utility, right? Dexter still with a decent belt. Siren not bad, but everyone else is struggling. Everyone else is running on empty. Just hoping, really, that they bait them into the crossfire at this point. Patsi well posted for this. Norby and Shalfie thinking about biting in. Smoke goes out to allow them to isolate the fight, and it works out brilliantly. Magic's under a lot of pressure, has to get one and does. Pulls off expertly with it as well. Buys his team the man advantage, and then just looks to pull to the safe side. But Zorti again there with the response as Chopper knows he has to push the issue, and he's got the bomb at his feet. If he swings this corner, he'll know it. He hears Zorti as well. This starts to get very ugly. The bomb recovered. Zorti's footsteps away are going to be heard. That bunny hopping is awful, and Chopper is there to punish it. Shalfie left in the 1v3. 20 seconds left. Bomb nowhere to be found. This round is done. It's just a question of if he survives or dies.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Spirit are going to be really looking to hunt him too aggressively, in fairness, so I think he will definitely live with this AK, but it's not going to help massively. They don't have the money for a buy to come around behind it again. Obviously, that was the force there, so it is going to have to be an eco now coming into this round. Shalfie's going to be left on a mismatched economy in comparison to the rest of his team. It just makes things a little bit awkward now in general. We'll have to see what can be done here. With the 1 AK, I mean, they need to at least get a couple of kills, ideally get a bomb plant so that Shalfie can get his money back on track. And yeah, very little investment. Zero investment, basically, other than a couple of smokes that have been pulled out. You can see that likely is for them to try and achieve that goal, as I was saying, of getting a bomb plant.
Fingers crossed, let's see what they can do. Shalfie goes through the early molly. See if maybe he can nab a little something, but nobody there. Nothing to get, so we'll look to join the rest of the team on outside. Like you said, just try and get across this. I mean, it's going to be running the gauntlet a little bit. But fingers crossed, if you throw enough bodies at it, you can make a bridge. Here we go. Nice shot from Zorti for the opener. Dexter there to thin the numbers, and that actually keeps dropping the bomb further and further forwards. Oh, it's a nightmare for forZe. Gary gets one. Shalfie will be able to take the AWP away at the very least. Actually finding 3 kills off the back of that. Not too shabby whatsoever. Magic scrambles the AWP right at the death. 3 kills? You know what? That's not too awful for forZe. This was just heart-wrenching. You saw the bomb drop forwards initially, then the momentum takes it forwards again. Every time they go to try and get it, it gets a little further out of their reach. And at 13-9, again, it's going to be another half buy. They didn't get the bomb down like they intended, and Spirit are really starting to shut this gap down.
Yeah, and as I had said, I thought Dexter would get going once he could get that off out on the CT side, and it seemed to have been the case. They're hitting a few nice shots, even if it's against the weaker buy. It is at least a bit of a warm-up for Dexter coming into what is going to be some pretty difficult gun rounds going forward. 10, though, should be found pretty easy. As I say that, though, the swarm on towards this A-bomb site begins to worry me. Kenzie with an opening chopper. He's surrounded and completely blinded. No idea what was going on. I'm surprised he even got away with the 1 kill. but he does for now. It's a man advantage for the forZe side, for the T's, as the bomb goes down. And they do have a couple of rifles as well to work with here. This is going to be tough for Spirit on the retake. The nades are not really there, just the smoke and a couple of flashes, so shots need to land. And at the moment, they're just not really being given any early openings, hoping for someone to overextend. As I say that, eventually Norvi is found. Patsi going to kick things off as they start moving in, expecting a bit of a flank, and that's probably a good idea with the wrap coming around from behind on lobby, leaving Jerry alone on the bomb site itself to try and be the one to hold it down. Mazorte, he's cut off Dexter from main, he's left alone now, but he's pulling Patsi back away from that bomb, and that's going to be enough. There's no time anymore, as it's going to be forZe off the back of a very, very weak buy, basically just the full eco. They managed to win it.
Again, just digging themselves out of a hole at the last possible moment. The explosion into the A side. That's what it looks like from a well-coordinated team. And you could see the difference from when Spirit tried it on their T side, right? Players were blind. Players were found. And it just sowed the seeds of chaos so much more efficiently. And Spirit not able to respond in time. And on the retake, not quite able to land it. 14-9. 2 more rounds required for forZe. This buy looking very rough indeed. They've emptied the coffers to try and get it going. Dexter, knowing he's got to maybe be the aggressor on this AWP, will get the opening pick. Kenzie, it looked like his teammate was holding for it, but he goes a little too keen on the angle, and now Normi under pressure, able to deal with it though. Takes out Dexter, the initial AWP. Siren will pick it up, of course. They look for the recovery. Siren actually on the site, and Magic's on the flank with a UMP, no less, has managed to find Norway again. Keeping themselves in the ascendancy for now. Siren spotted out behind the site, takes a little bit of damage, but adjusts well and hits a nice flick to take out Jerry. At this point, 2v4, Zorti and Shalfie clutching at straws a little bit. Magix plays the headshot angle, spots him out, does nothing with it. And they're going to have to try and chase him into the lower site. They're aware, they know that AWP is up on A. They know they need to get down here sooner rather than later. Magix just does a little bit of damage, just chips away at him and then falls off into dark. That molly, I don't think will spread far enough back, but it may pin him into a corner. Indeed it will for Shalfie, but Patsi is there with the response again. The trade frags are good for Spirit, and it leaves Shalfie 1v3. Gets the first, drops off his own flashbang to chase down the second, but he doesn't spot Siren to his right. So Spirit will respond in kind with a dodgy buy of their own to get double digits to break the economy of forZe once more. And back and forth we continue to go.
That's unfortunate. I thought he might have had it there when he dropped down, but it was one of those quick clears, expecting it to already be clear, and yeah, unfortunately it wasn't in that case. A little bit of extra damage, I suppose, at least done with that kill on towards the player in at the back of the bomb site, leaving only 2 surviving, but importantly, it is still the 10th round for Spirit, and we're back to the pistols again. Another quick A play. This time they're going to stay high, not putting themselves down all on the bomb site, where they can be overrun by those Tech 9s in their distance, and it's worked out much, much better. It's only 1 casualty to be suffered. It was Siren who went down, but it doesn't really set off alarms. 14-11, 3 rounds in the difference. This is looking much better from Spirit, and honestly, we were expecting forZe to have a relatively easy game here. Just kind of coming in, we said with the changes that Spirit have been suffering from, we thought it would be a bit of a struggle, especially with how their T side had kicked off, but they have just really gotten going since they've kind of, I guess, got their initial couple rounds.
I suppose the real perk is that, you know, forZe don't have any tape on you. You know, they've got no demos to go and review to work out how you play things, because you've not really played it as a roster before, but this time, just sheer firepower, Kenzie's going to open things up onto Dexter. Was that a straight outside fight? It looks like it from where he died.
Yeah, I think it might have been aggression from Dexter.
We'll have to see where he went down in the replays, because if Kenzie has just straight out aimed him outside, that is a nasty little shot with the AK. But it's bought them the man advantage. Chopper, again, up to his usual antics. We've seen a lot of this from him. Trying to go for the backstabs, catch the timing, catch a little something cheeky. Magix gets one, but he's losing teammates left, right, and center. Norway able to take out Patsi. They want to drop onto this, but the molly keeps them busy. Shalfie, meanwhile, only able to get one. Everyone is low now for forZe. And that may well tempt Spirit into this. Siren, yes, he's down on 19, but Chopper's got a full health. Full head of hair in this 2-on-3, and with Zorti on 13, Shalfie on 5, they're both a bullet or 2 from death, but I don't think they know it. Spirit are going to back away. at a critical moment for this series. They're going to look to save the 2 rifles they've got, knowing their economy is not the greatest. Oh, and what a decision that may turn out to be. They had utility for it as well. A couple of flashes, a molly to flush out an angular molly that in 2 ticks would have taken out Xiaofi and made this retake all the more viable. Chopper lurking over the AWP to make sure he can save that as well, but is it going to be enough? 15-11, 4 map points for forZe on the map pick of Spirit, no less.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but it's also understandable with the economy, especially with the op there being picked up in the end. They have a pretty good buy here, and they can at least try and fight for the overtime. Even though the health wasn't there for 2 of the players, I think if they went for that retake, they dropped it. They'd be coming into this buy now instead with maybe 3 guns max, and probably not the op either. Yeah, 4 row is not going to be an easy task by any means. Thankfully, no real weaknesses here in this buy, so they have their chances to get it done. And like forZe thought we're going to try and put some early pressure on towards that A-bomb site. They will do so with the nades. They're not really going for the straight-up push. Instead, Kenzie going to wrap around on outside, or at least that looked like it was going to be the goal to get up close towards main, but he just straight-up spots Dexter over the smoke, takes that opening kill, and is happy enough now to fall back off with the low health, just join up with his team, make sure they can use this man advantage to their favor. That's a good find, and what's the reaction now from Spirit? Are they happy enough to sit back on the bomb site again?
A little bit of a whiff from Dexter there. A little bit of a whiff from Kenzie as well. Kenzie has the drop on him, doesn't quite land the initial shot, then Dexter legs him, then Kenzie gets the kill, but doesn't matter how you get them as long as you do, and with that man advantage secured, it looks like forZe want to explode into the upper site. Utility starts to pop out. Xiaofi lurking around Squeak. They've not gone yet, though. They're looking to see if anyone's pushed out by these flames. It's not happening. Now they'll look to go again. The man top of hut has had to drop now. Chopper onto the site itself, and he's burned alive in the chaos. Siren, with a lot to do, can only find the one. Traded away. Now 2v4. Magix and Patsi to do what they can as Xiaofi punches the digits in. Patsi will find 1. Sprays down for 2. He's a little isolated, and he will go down as a result, but Magix is there for the trade. It's not enough. 16-11. It will be job done on map 1 for forZe. So the map pick a Spirit, and they put up, you have to say, a valiant effort. There were some good moments there, some good individual performances. But at the end of the day, this is the problem with picking